All right, so we're going to be starting a brand new lesson under Effects, and this is lesson 3. It's called Insert, Overwrite, Lift, and Extract. IOLE. Okay, so first of all, let's go ahead and set up the folder structure, and I have it under Unit 8. Okay, of course, Advanced Graphics, or you can call it Premiere. Unit 8, we're still there, and then Lesson 3. So if you don't have something like this, you may want to create it. So it's nice to keep things organized. Okay, and inside the Lesson 3 folder, you have Airplane. Okay, and then you've got these 5 or 6 phases, okay, that I've already created it for you. There's the pre-boarding, and then there's boarding, and then takeoff, flight, and landing and leaving. Although, you know what? I'm going to call this to departure because that's the airplane term. Okay, departure. Or actually, I'm sorry, arrival. Departure means taking off, pretty much. So, anyways, so these are the 6 folders that you should have. Alrighty, and so I know it's going to take a while to unzip and zip, so you may want to go ahead and stop this video right now to go ahead and take care of that. Okay, so come back in a couple of minutes after you've successfully downloaded this. Alright, so you should have had already downloaded all this. We can kind of put this on the side. Okay, it's going off screen. And then we'll go ahead and minimize that. And now what we're going to do is we're going to set up our Premiere. So this is a brand new project, so you're going to click on the splash screen, New Project. And then here we'll call this Airplanes or Airlines or Airplanes. That's fine. We'll call it Airplanes. Okay, because then we're going to look for the browse. Click there, and hopefully we'll be able to pinpoint exactly where we want to save all our work. I've got Unit 8, Lesson 3, and I want to keep it in the same area or the same folder about where the airplane folder is. Okay, so I'm going to choose that, and keep in mind once the folder contents and the folder has been established, it's there. That's it. You can't move it, you can't change it. Okay, everything is that you're going to put on Premiere is a copy of what you're working on, and it's linked. So if you move the original source material, you are going to lose that link. Okay, so let's go ahead and press OK. Alright, here we are. So again, I had asked several times if you would please make sure that you have 3 windows here. Everybody is doing their own thing. It's to each his own. Now, the thing right here is what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all this and drag it in here. Now, there's several ways I recalled, as I said before. There are several different ways that you can import. Okay, so you can double click in this. First of all, let me start again. You can go ahead in the project panel, you'll see Project Airlines because that's what we named it. And you should be able to double click and then find the folder that you just created. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to look for Classes, Advanced, Unit 8, Lesson 3, Airplanes. So as you can see, this is what I'm looking for. I can actually highlight all these buttons over here, all these folders. I can press import and it's going to go right in. Oh, there it goes. I accidentally pressed it. Didn't want to press it, but that's what I did. So at any rate, it's okay. And what happens now is you can see that it brings in as bins. Okay, you see that? If I click on it, there's all the content for each respective video or JPEG. Alright, so that's pretty cool. I'm going to be looking for this part here. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to start dragging and dropping content inside the timeline. So, oh, and speaking of which, the timeline, we need to set that up. So let's go ahead and do the following, please. So follow along. And again, anytime you're kind of needing to go back, you can, instead of raising your hands, all you got to do is rewind and look back, okay? So let's go to File, New, and then we're going to select Sequence. Okay, sequence is a combination of videos and images and audio that you're going to put together and make this into a film. So I'm going to click Sequence, and again, we are going to use the normal kind of methodology. Now, last year we had HDV, okay, HDV at 30, and it was 1028. But this year, this is kind of weird since they came up. But we used to select 1080. But if you notice, the frame size is kind of weird. It's not really where it's not standard. So, but anyways, that's why I think you should choose 720, mainly because, well, first of all, this is a standard height size, and I'm sorry, it's 1280, and you would think that H stands for height. It actually stands for horizontal. So in other words, it's 1280 pixels across. 720 is vertical, so it goes down. All right, so at any rate, that's where we're at. You can go ahead and call this sequence 1 if you like. This I don't worry about. Or if you want, you can change it to airplane. And then if you're satisfied with that, let's go ahead and press OK. All right, and there is our timeline. We got everything pretty much set. And basically, let's go ahead and start putting things in. And please don't put things in at will. Follow along, okay? And let's do this. All right. So first thing is, if you click on the first part, which is boarding, okay, you've got boarding JPEG right here, and this is a picture of LAX. And so this is what is known as an establishing shot. Okay, so you got to remember that establishing shot. Okay, so the first image is always, because why is it called the establishing? You are establishing the story. Okay, so let me go ahead and do this. Okay, and there we have it. Oops. Okay, so in other words, you are establishing the story. So you're telling a story about the airport. Okay, so let's go ahead. Establishing shot. That is usually the first shot of a sequence. We'll bring that out. So I'm going to go ahead and drag that in. Now, a couple of things you're going to remember here. You can go ahead and drag it in, and there is the size of the image right there. As you can see, this is the program window. That's where it appears, and you notice right there that it's really big. Okay, notice that this is the size. This is the size that we want, but this is the size we're given. Okay, if you can see Sprint, I don't know what airline that is, but I imagine that's American Airlines. And there's really, if it's this close, there's no way to tell where you're at. So we want to show people that we're at LAX. For those of you who are understanding of LAX, you'll be familiar with this scene right here. You know, the round restaurant, which is a very famous landmark within inside that airport. So let me show you what I would do. All right, first and foremost is, you notice how my slider down here, you notice how the slider down here is really long. Well, that doesn't serve me, so what I need to do is bring this in, shrink that in a little bit. And you notice that the distance between time is also increasing. So now, okay, so there you have it. So you will see that this is 4 seconds long. Okay, so if I click here, all right, and if you hold, you will notice that a little window, I'm going to try to bring this down a little bit. There it is right there. And if you bring this up, you'll notice there is a little window there that tells you the start and end times. Okay, so once again, I'll do it again. It's kind of hard to do it this way, but you'll notice that the start and end time, start obviously is at 0, and the end time is at about 4.5 seconds, which is okay by me. Okay, because that's all it really needs. Although I'm going to stretch it out a little bit, And as I'm stretching, you'll notice that the end time also increases. Now it's at 6. Okay, so let me show you if I possibly can. Let me do it again. Oops, a little past 6. So there it is right there. Let me see if I can zoom in. It's not letting me zoom in, mainly because I'm holding onto the mouse. But at any rate, notice that it's actually 5.5. So I'm going to bring it out a little bit, and you notice how there it is right there. You see that? It's at 6 exactly, and that's how it's done. Another way you can tell if this is a time, okay, 6 seconds long, is that you can double click on this footage. Just move the cursor here, double click, and you'll appear right here on the source window. Notice, okay, that the time second over here on the right hand side, it'll tell you this guy is 6 seconds long, even though this is not the actual footage. So if we were to click on the original, notice that this size changes, but this guy here is all, well, actually this, let me see, it goes further than, well, yeah, it goes way further than that. So this one goes, it's not really, hold on a second, let me see what's going on. Okay, so once again, it's this whole footage is about 12 seconds. Okay, this is how you tell. So what we really need, this side over here tells the footage that needs to be on, like for instance, if I click in and I go out here and out, this will tell me, this section here will tell me the section that is selected. So when I click on the clip on the timeline, you'll notice that it'll tell me 6 because in essence I did select this. So here it is. Now I'm going to show you how to zoom out, okay, because this is not going to work. So I'm going to click here, okay, watch, I'm going to click here, I'm going to go to Effects Control, okay, Effects Control, you got to click on the clip, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to, you see this where it says 100? Okay, and I wish I could somehow, there, that should be good enough right there. I'm going to scrub up to the left, and you'll notice on the program window on the far right, it's actually shrinking. So now there, right about there, now I can tell everybody my establishing shot is good. So this is what people will see. Alright, so 6 seconds, establishing shot, I'm cool. And the next thing I want to do is go look at my other footage that I have over here. So I was here. Now I'm going to check boarding. Okay, you'll notice that there is a crew member, and you see these dudes in white coats. Of course, in this day of age, they're going to wear this and make sure everything's sanitized. And they're cleaning the place up in preparation for the next flight. So if you double click here, you can do that. Now I can actually drag this whole thing into this area, but you got to be careful because you're only going to drag what's highlighted here. To remove this highlighted, see, remember this is the out part, okay, this is a JPEG, so it doesn't really matter. If this was a video, it would be a more important thing. So I'm just going to bring this in here, and there we go. So I want to match all the JPEGs. Should be at 6 seconds. Now how do I do that? Well, of course I can go ahead and try to drag this out a little bit and hit 6 seconds as best I could, but that's kind of time consuming. Well, that's not too bad. I mean, but again, you see how I'm kind of struggling to kind of match exactly. What I normally do is I bring this up one line and over, because I know that the footage below, the one of boarding JPEG, is exactly at 6 seconds. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag boarding all the way out, and now it's at 6 seconds, as you can see. So if I double click here, you'll see that it says 6 seconds right there. And I'm just going to go ahead and bring this across, and that's how I do it. Then let's see, this is arrival. Here comes the passengers. Again, I'm going to bring this across to 6 seconds. There it is, it matches. And also make sure that the snapping tool right here is also selected, because it snaps. In other words, you don't have to drag, and it'll snap to where it matches another clip. So let's go ahead and do that. Here is a flight attendant, obviously, and double click her, and so let's go ahead and bring her down. There we go, match again, and there we have it. So let's see now. And this one, if you notice right here, there's some black dead spots over there. And we can go ahead and kind of leave it the way it is, but what I would rather do is click on this on the footage and then zoom. Okay, see where it says scale? I'm going to increase the size. I'm going to go ahead and increase it so it looks like, there we go, right about there. Cool. We can still see the seats. We can still see that she's handling the luggage. We can still see that she's a flight attendant. Okay, so that does it about, let me see what this is. And oh, here we go. This actually is this is actually happening before all this. Okay, so actually this event is, if this is a video footage, so let's go ahead and play it. So you notice right there, once that happens, it's actually prepping the plane for the next flight. And boy, are they in the middle of nowhere. So this is kind of fast motion. As you can see, they're doing it again, and they're bringing more, probably, refreshments. I don't think that's luggage. I think that's more like food, things that you need to support. So at any rate, you have to ask yourself, do you need this twice? Because this does. I think it's okay. And again, this is exactly 20 seconds of footage. Do we want 20 seconds of footage? Probably not. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead. I do want to get this part here where that little thing is kind of moving in, and then it's kind of moving in. And I think I gave the point right about there. So I'm going to choose this as the end point, mark out point. Okay. The reason I do that is because, well, the other part I think is just unnecessary. Let's go ahead and press that, and then I'm going to drag it in. Okay, so I can go ahead and drag this in and watch what happens. I want this. Okay, if you look at this, okay, I've got my establishing shot. Okay, and let me see something. I didn't want it to happen. Okay, so I got my shot right here, the establishing shot. I've got these guys over here. And I've got, whoa, this one, we didn't notice this one. So let me go ahead and click on this and make that bigger. So let's go with that about there. It's kind of dithery, but we did it. All right, and then of course we got the flight attendant there. But now what if instead, okay, let me go back to this footage. So what if instead of, if I have to drag it in, I would have to drag it in right here. But what if I wanted it here in this middle part, okay? What if I wanted it over there? I would actually, some people do it this way, okay? So they kind of select everything here, and then they move it over, okay? You can do that because it's still early, or you can use this tool right here. This is the Track Select Forward tool. Click on that. There we have it, and it kind of moves everything, unfortunately, including this. So that may not be the most efficient tool to use. But what you can do, and I'm going to go ahead and delete this. What you can do is use this tool, as the guy said. This is called Insert. And Insert, if you notice, kind of pushes things to the right. Okay, this is Overwrite. Overwrite will pretty much overtake everything. Let me demonstrate overwrite. So say for instance I want it right here. And by the way, if you press shift, okay, if you press shift, okay, and hold, you will snap to the intersect or the intercut, okay, where the edit is. Okay, so I'm going to bring that out. So if I press and hold shift, notice what happens. Okay, I'm going to drag it and boom, it snaps. Okay, now that's where I kind of want things to appear. And if I pressed overwrite, which is this icon right here, it pretty much overtakes everything. Okay, so remember once again, looking at this section here, it goes there to there to there to there. So now I'm going to basically hit overwrite and let's see what happens. Notice that took everything away. There's my video, but those dudes with the white suits are gone. My passengers are there for just like a split second, and then there comes. So that has its place, but I don't want that to happen. Instead, I want this to be a part of the footage. So instead, I'm going to choose this icon right here, which is called Insert. And when I click on Insert, okay, there, everything else gets pushed aside, and pretty much I go ahead and press play. And by the way, spacebar presses play, and now I've got my footage of the airlines, okay, and it's doing its thing. And I'm just going to move the playhead a little faster. There is my white suit dudes, there's my passengers, and there's my flight attendant. So I kept everything exactly the way it should be. Okay, now the passengers are showing up, so let's go to boarding. Okay, so now I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to do something quite a bit different, and I just thought about this, and you're going to think I'm crazy, but that's okay. I like being crazy. So what I'm going to do now is go to airplane, okay, the sequence that we just created. I'm going to double click, and I'm going to name it pre-boarding. Pre-boarding. All right, there we go. There's pre-boarding. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create another sequence. Let's everybody do this. File, New, Sequence, and this time I'm going to call it Boarding. There it is. We got to make sure that it's the same thing, HDV 720p30, and then we're going to call it Boarding. There we go. Pretty dope. Okay, press OK. There it is right there. I'm going to drag it out only because, but we're going to put the two boarding images here. So now I'm going to drag this in, and I'm going to make it 6 seconds again. Okay, so I'm watching, so I think, oh, you know why? Because this guy needs to be smaller so I can better measure. Let's see, is it 6 seconds? Yeah, about that. And now I'm going to do the passengers, and you notice here also this is small, so we want to basically, and by the way, I rarely see this happen. Last time I did this was, oh god, several years ago, and this all, you know, it's rare that you see passengers board a plane like that, but it does exist. So now, whoops, what happened there? Okay, well, whatever happened, I fixed it, so you didn't see that. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and put this down here again, put this over, match it, 6 seconds, then I'm going to put it right next to it. Okay, but this guy right here needs to be bigger, so I'm going to press Effect Controls. This is selected. You'll notice that the white around tells me that it's been selected, and I will go ahead and increase. There it is right there. And then you got to decide. Okay, notice the black spots are still there. Maybe I can make it bigger, but now, I got these guys over here, and when you have a situation where the passengers are kind of cut in half, you make them insignificant. And then, in photography, you got to decide what's the most important thing. Well, the story here is that people are boarding an airplane, so you need to show more people. Well, let me show you these other two scenarios here. This is position, okay, and only the footage that's selected is going to be impacted. This right here is impacting left and right. So watch what I do when I move it left and right. See that? There we go. Okay, there we have it. And this number here is up and down. Okay. Now using the up and down, I'm going to bring this up, okay, because we see that this is an airplane and we want to see more of the people here. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to create a sequence for takeoff. And let's do that. File, oops, sorry, wrong app. File, New, and then go to Sequence. There it is right there. Okay, so click that, and this time it's the same thing you're going to select, HD 720 P30, and then this time, however, you're going to call it Takeoff. Okay, there we go. And takeoff is right there. We're going to drag it out, okay, because we want to have them. And with the takeoff sequence ready over there, let's go and start dragging. Okay, pilots. As you can see, they're ready to go. But before that, what happens? Well, that's already taken off. So I guess in a way the pilots would be the first guy. So let's bring them in again. Put it up to 6 seconds. Watch. 6. Well, I guess we have to bring this in more so we can more accurately hit 6 seconds. There we go. Good enough. Then what I'm going to do is another method I'm going to show you is in order to bring everything all at once without having to keep going back. Let's first see this. Okay, that's a nice shot right there. Then this one right here. There we go. And then here. So I would say this would be the first one. Okay, so let's go ahead and boom, there we go. I would stop right about there. Okay, so let's go ahead and put enter point here, right about there. Okay, and then bring that in. Then let's see. We want this one taken off right about there. Let's do that part right there, right about there. And there it goes. And that's the end point, mark out point. And let's drag. Basically, if you click here, drag video only. Let's bring that in. Okay. And then the final thing is this section here. Let's start right up here. Let's make the start point, and let's actually, for this one, bring the whole thing over. Okay, let's do that. So now let's see what we got. First, obviously, remember the pilots are kind of small. So what we'll do is we'll go to Effects Control, make sure that it is selected with the white around it, and increase. Okay, there it is right there. Now let's go ahead and play it. So they're doing its thing. The plane is about to take off. Alright. There we go. We got to try the best we can to show that it's the same plane. So there we go. There it goes again. Looks like it's about to take off. And maybe there it is, a landing gear. The gears are about to go in. So it's on cruise. Oops, sorry. Keep playing it. Yep, it's about to still keep ascending, ascending, ascending. Alright, cool. Well, that's the takeoff. Okay, so on your own, and you can always go back and refer to see how I did this. Go ahead and create a sequence for flight, landing, and arrival. Okay, go for it. Actually, now that I think about it, I think I better help you with flight. So I created the sequence for flight, and this is the passengers. Now actually we've got to make sure it makes sense, right? So all this right here, they're kind of chatting. Here is in cruising altitude, so that would actually, this looks pretty darn good. Let's see, this is going over here. To be quite honest, I would say this should be the first one because it's still from the previous sequence we had the planes flying, so we want to show that it's actually in cruising altitude. So let's go ahead and put that here. And oops, this says keep existing sequence. Okay, so you'll notice what this means. You can't see this, but this is actually smaller than this. This is kind of expanded. So just like what we did with images, we can actually go to Effects Control and shrink it. See, now watch what happens when we shrink it. See, more cloud appears, and now we got it. And unlike graphics, we can't extend this any further. Okay, so now we do that. Let's go back here and kind of see which one makes sense. So I would say get this one in. Okay, and then there we go. And this, I believe, is also the whole thing. See, again, this is kind of bigger, so we want to make this smaller. Okay, there we go. And I kind of like that. That's a nice little animation with the clouds moving ahead. Alright, so let's go back to this. So we've chosen the main. And by the way, you can always rename it because sometimes it's hard to remember which one you selected without having to go through it first. So I would choose X minus. That way you'll know. Okay, so airplane, I think we did this one, so double click in there, put down X. That way you kind of know that you've already used this. There we go. So now let's go back, portrait. Okay, she looks pretty happy there. And once again, we can, I would say, select the pilots there. Okay, and again, make this 6 seconds. So there it is right there. Duration, that's 13 seconds. 10, right now, you know what? That's about the best we can get. We pretty much have to reduce the scroll bar over here and get it right exactly at 6. That should be, oh, I had it, there we go. Okay, so that'll be our 6 seconds, and then let's see, we got the guys flying, we got some passengers there. I think this is an image too. Is it? Yep, it is. Okay, so again, 6 seconds, drag it on top of the first image. We know it's 6 seconds, drag it out. Okay, and then let's see what other. Okay, so remember, we already selected this, so we want to put the X there. There we go. Want to put this there. Underscore. Okay, and then the pilot, that's a really good shot. So let's go ahead and put that down. Well, let's actually hold off on that one. Remove that. Okay, so now we want to choose the inside, more of the footage. Alright, sorry I was interrupted there. So okay, so let's again well, I'm going to delete this, and now do I really need all their whole conversation? I would say no, because even though we got the flight attendant, so maybe right around there, and as soon as she leaves. So she appears, let's get all of her. So right about there, I have her at the 1925 mark, so I'm going to put a mark in there. I'm going to scrub forward to as soon as she disappears, right about there. So her back is turned, that's a good point. And we don't care about the conversation, so we're just going to drag the video only, and there we have it. And boy, that guy's big, and he needs to shave. So I'm going to reduce him so we can see the stewardess and the passenger. So now go back over here and double click, and let's go ahead and mark an X there. Okay, this time we are going to, so this one here is again the wing, so we're going to bring the whole thing. I like the whole thing there. Well, actually I take that back. Let's do this. Let's kind of choose half of it. Let's go to here. This whole thing is about 15 seconds, so let's choose, we'll start at 4, let's choose 7, so we'll go up to 11, right about there, and mark out. And let's bring that in. There we have it. And usually, let me think. You know what? Let's do this. Take that out. And let's bring in a passenger. This lady right here who seems to be kind of chill. There we go, right there. Let's bring her in, and this one is 18 seconds, so I don't need 18 seconds of her. I would say bring about 5 seconds of her. So let's start this right here at 1 second. Well, let's start about here. 30, mark in, and let's go ahead and do about 35. That's 5 seconds. Let's make it 6 seconds. 6, there we go. Right about there, mark out. So I'm going to bring her in, just the video, and notice that it's kind of big. So we'll go ahead and click on Effects Control and scale her down some so we can see that she's enjoying the view outside the window. And what is she seeing? Well, first of all, let's go ahead and put an X underscore there. Let's go look for that that aerial, or that right there. So again, we're clicking here, and do we need all of this? Oh, by the way, if you want to get rid of this dark area, you right click and you clear in and out. Okay, clear in and out, and notice now we can start again. Here we can tell it's 19 seconds of footage. We just need like 7. So I'm going to put this at 5 minutes right there, mark in, and I'm going to 5 plus 7 is 12, so I'm going to move all the way up to 12. There we go, close enough. And that's it. And then I can drag this out, and boom, there it is. See how that looks? And obviously it's way bigger than I want it to be. So again, select that clip, go to Effects Control, shrink it down. There you have it. So she's enjoying that, and now we can go ahead and mark that we've used this. You never want to use more than one footage at a time. Let's see. Let's go and bring the pilots in. 6 seconds right there. That's good enough. And let's mark this as X. And you only want to use the X if you use a large number of people. So this is another one. Let's bring this guy over so it shows that there we go. Alright, so make sure, ooh, that guy's small. So this one we still see black space, so let's go ahead and make it bigger. That's good enough. And then the next one, it's way small, and if we can use it, make sure you highlight the footage there, and let's make it bigger. I guess that's cool. You know what, we probably won't. Let's see if we can do this. That looks ugly, we can't use that, so we'll just XA on that one. Sorry about that. So we'll just go ahead and we can, when you want to delete something, you can just click and press the delete key. There it is, it's gone. Alright, so let's go ahead and well, let's just put this in one. And again, we don't need 20 seconds, we just need 5. So I just want it to be, well, maybe more. I just kind of want it to go right about there. So let's do 4:11, or let's do 4. And by the way, you can press the arrow keys to go back 1 or 2. So you notice I'm pressing the arrow keys, so I can get it exactly where I want it. Mark in, and then go all the way to, what did I say, 7 seconds? So 11 maybe. Okay, there it is right there. And that's too big. Right about there. Okay, that's the flight. Now we're going to talk about the landing. Alright, so I'm trusting you can make your own decisions. Okay, I'll see you in a few minutes. Alright, so while we were gone, for landing, I start out with this image right here, kind of going down, and then we've got this image here where it's kind of like the flaps are open, and there it is about to come into the terminal. And then for the arrival, okay, again, it's just here again I've got to shrink the image because it's kind of bigger than what I thought it would be. There we go. So now we see the interior of the airplane. And then we go here, we got to make this guy bigger, so make sure you select the footage. Okay, there we go. And I guess We can also bring it down a little bit so kind of arrive. See the word arrivals. And here's another arrival right here, and it looks like that's pretty good. And that's all you got to do, okay? So now, how do we bring all this together? Okay, let's take a look. And the first thing I'm going to do is create yet another sequence. So go to File, New, and then Sequence again. And this time you're going to call this one its own name. Okay, I'm going to call this Actual. Okay, or actually call this Project, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so let's go ahead and click OK. Alright. Alright, so looking at the work so far, I still kind of feel that the story is not being told. Especially when it comes to landing. I mean, there's a lot, this is kind of, I don't like it. And then this part I like, this part I'm cool with, but I feel like there's something missing. So what I did was I took it upon myself to create another folder, okay, to add more clips. And basically, if I go to, well, let's see if I can find it from here. Advanced Airplane, there it is, New. So I created a new folder called New, and it's zipped up. So now we got to decide where it belongs here. So if I click on Airport, now this is the footage I'd like to have for landing. Okay, there it is right there for landing. That's the really, so I'm going to drag this all the way into landing. Or what I can do is click here, the bottom, double click here, look for, well, it's not there. Interesting. So I'm going to go ahead and look at, that's why important, you got to remember where you put your folder. So let's, hopefully I can, well, I guess it's under desktop. GHS, sorry. Classes, advanced graphics, airplane, there it is. Okay, so I'm going to take this and select import. And it's going to appear right there. And so I'm going to drag it and put it right under landing. There it is. So now it becomes a part of that. There's also another one called landing, and here it is right here. That part is landing. Okay, cool. I'm just going to drag this one right into the landing. Okay, that's all we got to worry about. The next one is deboarding, because one of the things is the arrival is that I'm not sure that this is the exact story. So what I want to be, oh, and also there's one more for landing, which I think is really amazing. Look at this one right here. Okay, here it goes. Alright, so there we are, the plane just flying overhead, and you can only take this shot if it's landing right up. If it's that close, it's landing, I hope. Alright, so I'm going to drag that in, and now I'm going to close this, and then I'm going to put on arrival. There it is right there. So now I've got a couple of images here. There you see. Alright, and this right here, look, another small image, and this is more like it. So let me go ahead and highlight both of them and put it into arrival. There we go. Alright, now we got to use these two tools here, as we showed in the video, to kind of put them into the right place. Okay, let's do that. Alright, so we're going to click on arrival right there, and you'll see the sequence happening here. So you got here the passengers are getting up off their seats and arriving into the terminal and then getting their luggage. Okay, so what happens in between? Well, we got two new images here, and there it is. They're about to get up their seat. This is more of a mass scale because this looks like it just came right after they landed. There's a lot of people there, whereas in this image they're moving out. So this looks like they're just about to get there. So how do we get it so that this image appears right there? Well, a couple of ways. First of all, we can, let me think. Okay, so once again, click on this guy. So I'm going to put the scrub, the playhead right over there, and I'm going to put in insert. There. See how everything gets shifted over? Okay, and that's way small, so I'm going to beef that up a little bit. Quite a bit. Ugly. Yeah, I don't like dithery pictures, but anyways, so now I'm going to look at the other image, and that's more like it. So this one is easy. I can just put this at the very end. Alright, so because they're leaving, they're coming, and actually this is not right. So what I want to do now is I want to be able to put this, okay, because they have to have entered, before they get into the terminal, they have had to walk down this thing. So we're going to put this right here, insert. There it is. So there we go. That 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, good deal. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put the rest in landing. Landing is going to be kind of a tough one. So we brought in new ones. Okay, so let's look at what we have. We got this guy right here. Okay, we got this one right here, and then we got this right here. Alright, so let's go ahead and insert, okay, a couple of things right here. First of all, if you press and hold the shift key, again, as I told you, you can snap at the intersection. See, there it is right there. Well, no, it's not. Let me go ahead and okay, let me go ahead and press and hold the shift key. I see the problem was I was holding the wrong key. I was holding the cap lock. So now I want to have that really cool one where it's flying over the trees. There it is right there. And again, I'm going to choose, it's dead space. There it is right just when it's about to enter. So boom and boom right there, just as it exits. I don't need any other thing. And now I'm going to click insert. As soon as I find the right, there it is. Now I'm going to insert, and only this area is going to be inserted. There it is right there. So now got this, and obviously I have to shrink this guy. So select that clip. Okay, there we have it. Then boom. There it is right there. Now the thing is here, I rather it begin right here, okay? Because to me, there should be one more clip that I have here. That's not it. That's not it. That's not it. I think it's this one here. Let's go ahead and play it, because we don't show the plane landing. So let's do this. Let's go down here and just right about there. So from 0 to right about there. Where am I going to put this? Right here, I suppose. Right here. And let's go ahead and insert. There we have it. Okay, so, and again, I got to shrink this because I want it to be the original. There we have it. There we go. And then just as it's landing, this one here, put this in the center, and I need the other footage. Let's see this one. Actually, you know what? This would be pretty cool. Let me see exactly what's happening here. So I got that. I got that. Right about there is where I probably want to stop. Now this is where I kind of use the in and out on this side, the program. Okay, so I'm going to select this, and then I'm going to choose the very right about there, just when it's about right there, and I'm going to choose the out. Okay, so that part, and I'm going to select this guy right here. It's called lift. And then if you notice, it's just going to lift or extract. Watch what happens. Okay, when I press lift, that portion is lifted. And I can actually, now you're thinking, okay, oh my goodness, now I got a big thing over there that's kind of, missing. Well, let me go ahead and undo everything. And let's finish off with the sequence first. I like to finish off with the sequence first and then. So I want to put something right about there and right there. And let's go ahead and let's see what part of this. How about right here, just when it lands. Right there. Okay, so there we go. Now, and go all the way across. And let's insert. Oops, I don't know why he's saying that. Let's go ahead and choose right there. And then change clip, ignore sequence in and out point. No, change clip speed. Oh, because the clip source is longer than destination. That's fine. Ignore sequence out point. Ignore sequence. Let's just see what happens. There we go. So now we've got this one. Well, notice that our wing thing was gone. So let's do this. Undo that because now I need to keep this part right here. So again, this has to be inserted here. And I don't know what this is. This is about 12 seconds, so I don't know why it's not doing it. Let me find out. Alright, so I think what I did was I pressed undo to make sure that everything here is the same purple color. Okay, so I think it was still in the mode of what do you call it, lifting or extracting, and we got to be very careful about how we do it. So anyways, I want this part right here, this footage to appear. Okay, so let's choose our in and out point. So right about there is the in point, and then let it land, let it go a little bit, and out point. Now I'm going to insert. Now it works. Okay, so we got, if you look at the right, boom, there it is, and now it lands. Obviously we have to shrink that again. Okay, there we go. And then now that makes perfect sense. Okay, so now let's talk about, let's say, for instance, let's say if we wanted to, I think that's so cool, we want this to go a little bit further. Let's say if we wanted to kind of, well, I'm trying to think what I'm going to say. Well, for undoing purposes, let's do this. Let's go ahead and undo. So press Command Z until this sequence is gone. So now we got the wings, and now we got this. So now what I want to do is stretch this out, this thing out. So in other words, I'm going to stretch this out, this side. So I want it to go a little bit further. And then I'll be using this to kind of fix it. Alright, so again, we put the playhead to where it's supposed to be. Okay, playhead's where it's going to be. And then we're going to insert. It's bigger. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go over here. Okay, obviously you have to shrink it again. A lot of shrinking. And say for instance we want to stop it right here. Instead of having to redo it here, we can just put in an in point here. Okay, so notice right there. Okay, we're going to put it back a little bit right there. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to choose an out point right about there, and that's going to be our out point. So that part we are going to, if we extract, if we lift, all we're going to do is click and there'll be a gap there. I'm going to undo it. If we click on extract, you'll see that not only will it lift, and you'll see that little arrow there, it'll also bring everything together. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and select it, and notice that the timeline shrunk, but now we've got something that completely makes sense. Okay, That's what we're going to do. All right, let's go ahead and save our work, and I'll be right back to show you how to finish this. All right, so this is how we're going to do it. First part, arrival. Bring this, we're going to select the project sequence. There's nothing here. Well, there is now. We're going to put in this sequence, then we're going to bring in this sequence, and then we're going to bring in this sequence. There we go. Then we're going to bring in this one. Okay. All right, and then we're going to bring in this one. Whoops. Go back here, and now we're going to bring in this one. We're going to bring in actually takeoff is kind of, you got to be careful. Takeoff, actually we already got takeoff, didn't we? Or did we mess up? Let's see. Yeah, we did. Hold on. Scratch this. Glad you're watching this first. First of all, we chose this. See how arrival first? So it should have been pre-boarding. So let's go ahead and bring pre-boarding in. Okay, keep existing sequence. I don't know what they're saying. So it looks like there's my establishing shot. There it is right there, and it's arrival. There's our flight attendant. Okay, so I'm going to put the scrub head right about there at the edge. Then after that, we have to talk about takeoff. Takeoff. And I'm going to put the scrub head right at the very end. Take off, and then we've got the flight. There we have it. And then we are going to put this again at the very end. So we've got takeoff, we got pre-boarding, takeoff, flight, and you notice how I forgot about boarding. At least I think. I forgot about pre-boarding, so let's go over here, but let's do this, okay? So what we're going to do now is we are going to, let's see, hold on. I think the easiest thing to do is start again. We should always rename this thing, okay? Okay, the best thing I can say is just go ahead and remove all these. Highlight, remove it. And what we can do now is we can number this sequence here. So the first thing obviously is pre-boarding. So let's go ahead and click and put number 1. Okay, and then boarding. Okay, let's go ahead and click in there and call it 2. And then, so now we got 1 and 2, and oops, there we go. Three, so 1, 2, 3, and then we've got hold on. 1 is a pre-boarding, boarding. I'm sorry. This number 3 takeoff is number 3. 3, and then flight is actually number 4. All right, so flight is number 4. So we got 1. And by the way, I believe you can. No, you can't move it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the landing is number 5. So we double click. Okay, there we go. And then arrival is number 6. All right, now let's go ahead and put it. The project is the project, so we click on project to make sure we're there. Okay, so 1 is pre-boarding. Okay, 2 is boarding. Yeah, keep existing. 2 is boarding. 3 is takeoff. 4 is the flight. and 5 is the landing. There we go. Move this over a little bit, and 6 is the arrival. There we go. So now we can actually add a little more to it. Okay, so then basically it's kind of going its thing. And now what we can do is put our transitions. Okay, so let's put different transitions. And I think what we'll do is we'll stop right here and we'll work on the next as a different project. Okay, I think I've spoken enough.